What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Yeah. What's good? This is your boy Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. I know what it is. You know where my mind be. I know where my heart be. I know where my body be. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you guys are remaining engaged. Remember, all the engagement, all the energy you guys provide to the show, it comes back tenfold. It helps the channel grow, helps more people find the show. On top of that, make sure you guys are taking advantage of other ways to get the content. You can access the show not only on YouTube, but you can also access the show on Spotify, and you can also access the show on Apple Podcasts. I enjoy all of you guys who double back on your own time, commenting, hitting the like button, just leaving all your marks across this show, man. You guys are phenomenal. So make sure you guys continue to stay engaged, especially in that live chat. I appreciate all of you guys. Shout out to my man KGK, Keisha White, Linda Washington, Alex, the Bull RJ, S Blunt, my OG, Triple OG. I appreciate you guys so much for locking in on the content, and all you other guys as well who are tuned in. It means a lot to me. It goes a long way. We have some things to get into. We ain't going to waste no time. Vic Fangio gave us a lot of information yesterday. A lot of information. The Philadelphia Eagles have been in OTAs, and I believe they have one more OTA, and then they have a mandatory minicamp sometime next week or something like that before they break for the summer, and then they'll be back for training camp. But nonetheless, a few people spoke at the press conferences yesterday. We heard from Nolan Smith. We heard from Adoree Jackson, Kelee Ringo, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., right? A lot of young guys and one veteran. But Vic Fangio, his press conference was very telling. Very telling. And there's a few tidbits, there's a few threads that I want to pull at in today's show. We're going to be here for about 45 minutes to an hour. So let's make sure we get right to it. And we're going to have some fun. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Now, where do we begin? I think we begin with the secondary. Let's start there. Let's start with how he discussed Cooper DeJean. Now, Cooper DeJean had a phenomenal rookie season. Cooper DeJean was one of the best corners in football, especially one of the best nickels in football On top of that, Cooper DeJean was recently ranked as the 11th best corner according to Pro Football Focus. They gave us their top 32 corners heading into the 2025 season. Cooper DeJean was ranked 11th. Quinyon Mitchell was ranked 16th. Not bad for two young guys. Not bad for a corner from Toledo and a corner from Iowa. Not bad at all. But Cooper DeJean in particular, we're going to focus on him because I think his positioning, his alignment has been called into question. Not for bad reasons, but for all the good reasons, right? Quinyon Mitchell, we know where Quinyon is going to be. We know exactly where Quinyon is going to line up. He's going to be on the outside. He's your number one corner. He's going to take the hardest matchups. That goes without saying. But Cooper DeJean, because he has such a versatile skill set, and because he showed an ability to really defend against the best of the best in his rookie season, there's a section of the fan base who would like to see Cooper DeJean line up on the outside. Some even will take it as far as to see him line up on the outside exclusively. But that's where we part ways, at least for me. I'm of the mindset, and I'm on record saying this. You guys can check it out on TikTok. You guys can check it out on my Instagram. I'm on record making it very clear how I feel about Cooper DeJean lining up on the outside. And that's not because he can't do it. I believe Cooper DeJean can line up anywhere. Vic Fangio said it himself. We're going to talk more about that. But I want to set the table a little bit. I'm of the mindset that Cooper DeJean's skill set can be fully maximized in that slot because he's able to roam. He's able to affect more parts of the game. He can travel. A lot of these slot receivers, a lot of these tight ends, they're very dynamic. You know, you got running backs lining up in the slot. You got these athletic tight ends lining up in the slot now in the flex position. You got these number one receivers aligning in the slot as well. This is what happens. You got guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb. These are top 10 receivers. These guys line up in the slot all the time. And I think Cooper DeJean, not only can he defend those guys, but his skill set allows him to defend the run very well. He's a very physical guy, very disciplined, knows how to maneuver through the traffic, knows how to maneuver through the garbage. Because sometimes when those receivers go in motion, when those tight ends go in motion, we've seen it. We've seen some corners in Eagles history that struggle to keep up. I'm not going to say any names. But Cooper DeJean has shown the propensity to not only cover very well, but he can tackle in space very well. So getting back to Vic Fangio's press conference, he was asked about Cooper DeJean's alignment and where we could see him, knowing especially that Darius Slay is gone, Isaiah Rodgers is gone, Kelee Ringo and Adoree Jackson are competing for that starting outside spot at CB2. We know that. But Vic Fangio was asked about Cooper DeJean's alignment and where he sees him. Because in OTAs, you've seen him line up on the outside in base formation. You've seen him line up in the slot when they get to the nickel formation, right? And Fangio was pretty candid. That's why I love when Fangio speaks. I love when Fangio speaks because he tells it like it is. He doesn't pull any punches. He's very pragmatic. He's very honest about the circumstances. And he mentioned how he wants to keep DeJean at nickel. He said this. He said he wants to keep DeJean in the slot. But he also wants to find a spot for him in base formation, which is why you've seen him line up on the outside in base at OTAs and line up in the slot when they're a nickel. And look, they've been experimenting with this, right? They've been experimenting. It's OTAs. You don't want to take too much away from it. You don't want to take too much away from it. But they've been experimenting with DeJean playing on the outside in base. But he said it will ultimately be determined by what's best for the team. He says he wants to do what's best for him, DeJean. He said Fangio says he always wants to do what's best for the player, but he's always going to prioritize what's best for the team. For example, last season, 2024, when DeJean got on the field and Fangio realized how good he was and how quickly he was picking up the scheme, he said, well, I got to find a way to keep this guy on the field. The best way to keep him on the field at the time, especially based off the personnel, because remember, you had Quinyon, you had Slay, you had DeJean. There's no need for DeJean to play on the outside and base when you got Quinyon and Slay. You're secure there. So Fangio said because of the personnel that we had, it suited us best to be in nickel most of the time. He took it as far to ask the reporters. He said, how often do you guys believe that we were in base formation? And I'm so glad he said this and I'm so glad he asked the question because it aligns directly with what I've been talking about for months. I've talked about this with you guys. I'm documenting. He asked the reporters, how often do you guys think that we lined up in base last year? He asked them. And I'm going to get to your comments, by the way, you guys. I'm going to get to your comments. If you guys want to super chat, if you guys want to donate to the channel, you guys have the freedom to do so as well. I appreciate all of that. But he asked the reporters, how often do you guys believe we lined up in base formation? We played in 21 games, he said. 17 in the regular season, 4 in the playoffs. How often were we in base formation? Some of the reporters said 10% of the time, 15% of the time. Some of the reporters said 70 plays, 90 plays, whatever it is, right? He said through 21 games, the Eagles defense played approximately 160 total snaps in base formation. 160 total snaps in base formation. That's what he said. Now, I don't know the exact percentage that is for the entire season, but 160 snaps on a season is not much at all. I think we all can agree with that. 160 snaps doing anything in the NFL is not a lot at all. In some games, your defense is on the field for 40, 50, maybe 60 snaps, depending on if y'all having a good day or a bad day. If we want to average it out, 160 snaps? That's about what? 40, 80, 120, 160. That's about 40 defensive snaps a game. But let's extrapolate that over a 21-game sample size. He said they were in base formation for approximately 160 total snaps through 21 games. You know what that averages out to over the course of 21 games? That's an average of 7.6 snaps per game. If you want to round up, if you want to round down, do what you want to do. That's between 7 to 8 snaps in base formation a game. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. That's very minimal. And in this NFL, like I talked about, most of these teams, they're not spending too much time in base formation. They're not. They're not. Unless it's a clear and obvious run situation, maybe. You know, maybe it's the 1 yard line. You put your team in base formation. Okay. But if it's 1st and 10, we at the 40-yard line. Where we are now in the NFL, these teams are passing on first down. These teams are passing on first down now. There's no such thing as a clear and obvious rundown anymore. In my opinion. It doesn't work like that anymore. We see teams pass on first down a lot. You know what we see a lot? We see pass, run, pass sometimes. Often, actually. We see a lot of situations where we see pass, run, pass. We've even seen situations where it's pass, pass, run. Now, traditionally, we've always seen run, pass, pass, or run, run, pass. And again, it's so much that goes into that. It depends on down and distance. It's so much, it's so many nuances that go into that. But the point is, Cooper DeJean allowed for the Philadelphia Eagles to remain in base to remain in the nickel formation, excuse me. Cooper DeJean's presence, his skill set, his ability to not only cover, but also defend the run and play sideline to sideline, it allowed the Philadelphia Eagles to remain in nickel where they're able to defend the pass and defend the run comfortably. Comfortably. The Eagles were one of the best pass defenses in football, one of the best run defenses in football. I think actually they were, as a matter of fact, now I think about it, the Eagles' run defense, was it top 10? I can't remember. I gotta check that. I gotta check that out. Where was their run defense in 2024? So the Eagles had a top 5 run defense. Top 5. What's up, Dad? Hope you're doing well, sir. We'll talk soon. But the Eagles had a top 5 run defense in 2024. They were ranked 4th. And as far as pass defense goes, the Eagles were 2nd. So the Eagles had a top 5 run defense and a top 3 pass defense. And they spent most of the time in nickel formation. Only 160 total snaps through 21 games were in base. So yes, although we're seeing Cooper DeJean line up on the outside in base formation through OTAs, they're experimenting, we're seeing it. And I know a lot of people want Cooper DeJean to play the outside because they think he can do it. And I think he can do it as well. But the reality is this, and Vic Fangio said it, he wants him in the slot. He believes his skill set works beautifully in the middle of the field. He even took it a step further. And make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. That like button is so important. We have over 70 people on the live stream. We only got 32 likes. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. You got 2 jobs here at Chalk It Up Sports. You get comfortable, kick your feet up, and you smash the like button. That's all you got to do. That's all I ask. Smash the like button, you guys. That's very important to the overall life of the show. Helps YouTube push us forward. But again, Vic Fangio, not only did he make it clear, I want Cooper DeJean in the slot, he also took it a step further and said, hey, he's capable of playing safety too. As a matter of fact, he took it even further and said, I believe he can do very well playing safety. His skill set fits. He said his skill set fits. So he's very high on him in the nickel, in the slot. He's very high on him at safety. They're experimenting with him on the outside and base. I'm telling you guys. We may see him on the outside and base. We may. But guess what? If Kelee Ringo does what we think he can do, or what we expect him to do, we're as good as golden. We're good. And like I said, we're not going to see the Eagles in base formation like that. We're not. We're not. It's just not where we are in the NFL. Vic Fangio knows that. These teams are playing in 11 personnel most of the time, and then even when they're in 12 personnel, you got these tight ends who are dynamic. So, I was really fascinated. I was really pleased to hear what Vic Fangio said regarding Cooper DeJean, because it's something I've discussed with you guys on more than one occasion. It's something that I've been adamant about. Some people call me crazy. Some people said, nah, Tone, put him on the outside. Let Kelee or let somebody else play nickel. I'm like, are you dumb? Are we for real? Were you guys not watching the games? Cooper DeJean is so dynamic in the slot. So dynamic. And Fangio even said it himself. He said that he can be even better at safety. He's that good. He's that smart of a player. He's that athletic. So we'll see ultimately. And I don't know if you guys remember this. But when I was discussing Cooper DeJean prior to us drafting him, and even after we drafted him, when we were discussing Cooper DeJean on Chalk It Up Sports, I don't know if you guys remember. I'm on record. You can do your own research, but I'm on record. I said, don't be surprised if Cooper DeJean plays safety in the NFL. Don't be surprised if he plays safety. I don't know if you guys remember that. If you don't, it's okay. It's not the biggest deal. But I think around draft time last year, when we were discussing the corners, because we knew the Eagles were going to go corner. We knew that. It was just a matter of who they were going to draft. So we did a lot of research, and we did our due diligence covering these corners. Quinyon Mitchell, Terrion Arnold, Cooper DeJean, right? Is it Nate Higgins, I believe? We did a lot of research on that. And we said Cooper DeJean may be a good safety in this league. But even aside from that, Fangio loves him where he is. He loves him in the nickel. He loves him in that spot. But he just wanted to make it clear that DeJean's skill set is so dynamic. It's so vast. And the kid is so smart. He's capable of playing safety very well. And they're just experimenting with him on the outside in base formation. And I think it was important. That he emphasized the fact that the Eagles only played 160 total defensive snaps in base. I think that was intentional. He didn't just say it. He asked because the reporters kept asking about Cooper playing on the outside. They kept asking about it. And he said, how many snaps do you guys think we played in base last year? 21 games. How many snaps do you guys think we played? He said we played about 160 snaps in base. That told me everything I needed to know. He basically said, yeah, we're experimenting with him on the outside, but we're going to do whatever's possible to keep him on the field. If that means he's at safety, if that means he's on the outside, whatever. But he's going to be in the nickel more than anything. So I thought that was a really interesting part of the conversation that was brought up in Vic Fangio's press conference Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you guys are also remaining engaged. Again, that like button is currency in this YouTube space. It's very important. So make sure you guys stay active. We got over 80 people on the live stream, only 48 likes. Make sure you guys stay active. You guys, it's really important. It's really important. I can't stress it enough. That like button is so vital. I cannot stress it enough. I want to move on to another part of the conversation that Vic Fangio brought up. And we're still sticking with the secondary, but now we're going to talk about Kelee Ringo. We're going to talk about Kelee Ringo. When asked about Kelee Ringo and Adoree Jackson when it came to the cornerback 2 spot, he made it very clear that, yeah, there's a battle there. And both of the players, Kelee and Adoree, they're making good strides. And, you know, he talked about how a lot's going to be revealed. A lot's going to be revealed when we get to training camp and we get a couple preseason games under our belts. But in particular, Kelee Ringo and Adoree Jackson, they're competing for the CB2 spot, and he indicated that both players are making good strides, making really good strides when it came to, you know, taking on the role. But he even went as far as to say, and let me preface it with this. He was asked specifically about Kelee Ringo's development and how confident he is in his ability to take up the mantle at CB2. He was asked specifically about Kelee Ringo. He took a sip of his drink and he said, all he needs is reps. That's all he needs. He just needs reps. You know, we had Slay, we had Isaiah Rodgers last year. It's hard to get a guy reps. Where you got Quinyon, Coop. It's hard to get reps when you got a lot of talented guys like that in front of you. That's just the reality. He said all he needs is reps. And he didn't say that with trepidation. He didn't say that with apprehension. He said that with an air of confidence and optimism. He said all Kelee needs is reps. It was one of those, it's like all he needs is reps, honestly. Which means that, to me, how I'm taking that. This is how I'm taking that. He says, or how I'm taking what he says, I'm taking that like, I like what I'm seeing from him. He just needs more reps, needs more opportunities, needs more time getting comfortable with the role. I don't doubt the talent. I don't doubt the athleticism. Just needs reps. That made me feel really good about Kelee Ringo. I'm already in a pretty decent spot with Kelee, but that made me feel really good about Kelee Ringo. Mainly because, you know, Kelee, when we drafted him, a lot of people were high on him. And he came out very young. He left college very young. I think he was 20 when he got drafted, something like that. Let me see if I got this right here. I think he was 20 when he got drafted. 21. No, actually, he was 20 when he got drafted. He turned 21 before the season started. He was 20 before the draft. His birthday is June 27th. So he was 20 when he got drafted. He wasn't 19. He was 20. He was 20. He wasn't 19. Because he's 22 now. He'll be turning 23 in June. Well, June 27th. He'll turn 23 June 27th. He was 20. But the point is, that's besides the point. The point is, he came out young. He was raw. And he's had the opportunity to learn from Slay, learn from Bradbury, learn from Quinyon, Steve Coop, and those guys come in and do their thing. Vic Fangio doesn't seem worried about Kelee Ringo. Now, obviously, Kelee Ringo has to do his job. That's what's going to be important. My man S. Blunt with the super chat. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. He says, the Eagles defense participated in 1,047 snaps, marking the fewest defensive snaps in the 4-year tenure of head coach Nick Sirianni. That means that defense was lights out. That defense was lights out. Hey, S. Blunt, do me a favor, big dog. How many defensive snaps were the Eagles on the field for in 2023? Do me a favor and look that up if you can, bro. I really would appreciate it, big dog. In 2024, the Eagles defense was on the field for 1,047 snaps. How many snaps were they on the field for in 2023? Can anybody look that up for me real quick? Because, you know, Kelee, he got snaps on the back end of that season. You know, they had injuries or whatever, but, you know, Kelee had some opportunities there, but he hasn't really had opportunities to be on the field consistently for an entire football game. Consistently. And that's what Vic Fangio spoke about. He said, all this kid needs is reps. And I'm not just talking about spot reps. I'm talking about playing a complete football game for an extended period of time. I think Kelee's going to be solid, you guys. I think he's going to be solid. Is he going to be Quinyon or Coop? I don't know. But I think it's so important for us as a whole to shift our perspective on Kelee Ringo. We need to want him to be successful. We need Kelee Ringo to be successful. It's so vital. It's so vital. Big Dog says they were on the field for 1,162 defensive snaps. That sounds a little low. Okay. All right. Got it. Okay. So that's about 100 snap difference. That's Blunt funny, man. That is hilarious. They were it felt like they were on defense forever in 2023. R. Gross says the Philadelphia Eagles defense played 1,162 defensive snaps during the 2023 regular season. This was a slight increase from the 1,106 snaps they played on defense in 2022. And in 2024, they played 1,047. So, I mean, there's a difference there. When your defense is on the field more, that means they're not that good. And the 2024 defense was on the field 1,047 times. That's That was a career low for Nick Sirianni's defenses. It's pretty good. But again, I say we need Kelee Ringo to be successful. Not just for the players' benefit and the defense's benefit, but for the cap space's benefit. For the spreadsheet's benefit. Because Kelee Ringo was drafted in the 4th round. He's getting paid 4th round money. He's entering year 3 of his current deal. If he does well, the Eagles, if anything, have 2 years at minimum. They have 2 years of a quarterback opposite Quinyon Mitchell being cost controlled. Quinyon and Coop playing as well as they did and as well as they're going to play on rookie deals is remarkable. It's remarkable. And again, they're on rookie deals, giving you that level of production. They were giving you Pro Bowl level production. You get that from Kelee Ringo, you got 3 starting corners on rookie deals, playing at a Pro Bowl or playing at a top 15 level or top 20 level, however you want to slice it. You got 3 corners on rookie deals playing at that level. You know how flexible that would make the Philadelphia Eagles when it comes to spending money? We don't want the Eagles to have to go out and get more players at corner. We need Kelee Ringo to work. Seriously. Seriously, because we got some people coming up that's about to get paid. Jalen Carter. That's the first name that come to mind. Jalen Carter's about to get banked. The Brinks truck is already backing up. Already backing up. They just waiting for the car to drop the bag off. That's it. Big Dog says they got to probably pay Kelee next year, though. They don't have to do anything yet. Keelee's a 4th rounder. There's no 4th rounder demanding anything. With all due, unless you had Pro Bowls and All Pros on your belt, there's no 4th rounder dictating terms. With all due respect to Kelee Ringo. But I promise you this, to your point, Big Dog, to your point. If Kelee Ringo has a good season, I bet you the Eagles get ahead of it and they extend him. I bet you that. He has no 5th-year option. The only first rounders have 5th-year options. Second rounders and beyond don't get 5th-year options. But I promise you this, if Kelee Ringo plays well, don't be surprised if the Eagles extend him and get him for the low. Remember, he's the 4th round pick. He's unproven. He'll only have 1 year sample size of playing at that level. The Eagles can get him for cheap. The Eagles will be able to get Kelee Ringo for cheap. That's a fact. 4th rounder, 1st year starting. You played good. You played decent. The Eagles will be able to get Kelee Ringo for cheap. That's what I think, at least. That's what I think. But the overall point is that I believe Vic Fangio is a little higher on Kelee Ringo than some people originally thought. Because I've heard some people say, no, Vic don't like Kelee. He doesn't fit what he wants. Vic Fangio was in the press conference, and look, body language and all that kind of stuff, and the inflections in your voice, your tonalities, how you answer questions. I think Vic Fangio is a little higher on Kelee Ringo than some of us think. I think he's higher on Ringo than people think. So I think we all need to hope Kelee Ringo becomes a player for the Eagles. Because I say again, and we'll end this segment with this. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and Kelee Ringo, I believe that's the goal. That's the long-term plan. And if you got all three of those brothers, cost-controlled, rookie deals, playing with Vic Fangio, bro. The Eagles will be in phenomenal shape. Phenomenal. All right. Let's move on to another part of the conversation. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We got over 100 people tuned into the stream. We only got 59 likes. The math not mathing. So do me a favor, you guys, and smash that like button. It's really important to the overall success of the show. You know, he spoke about other things as well. You know, he spoke about Bryce Huff. He addressed that. Pretty plainly, actually. He admitted that Huff was getting better. Like I said, like some of us said. If you were paying attention, Huff was getting better. Huff was getting better as the season went along. Fangio said it himself. But then, like we discussed, he got hurt. And he tried to play on the wrist. Wasn't really able to be effective. Got surgery. They had it wrapped up. He couldn't really do much with his hand. So he became a liability out there. He said he was getting better up until he got hurt, which offset the player's trajectory in the 2024 season. So, you know, he says he believes that he's going to do well in San Fran. But, you know, it's unfortunate circumstances. He was getting better, but he got hurt. And, you know, Jalen's Hunt started to come on. Nolan was getting more snaps. BG was doing well until he got hurt. Josh Sweat was doing his thing. You know? It became what it became. And you know, Vic Fangio, he said it matter-of-factly. He said, you know, it happened. And we had to go with the guys that were doing well at the time. And, you know, he kind of, you know, guys started playing better, and we started leaning on Nolan. We started leaning on Jalen, which says a lot about Jalen's Hunt, by the way. Says a lot. He also spoke about Jihaad Campbell. And how he's starting him out at inside linebacker before we even think about putting him on the edge. Now, he admitted that Campbell likely won't hit the field until August. You know, he's still recovering from that labrum surgery. Still rehabbing, but he is doing sideline activities. But he said, you know, we're starting him out at inside linebacker. There's more to learn there. And he even said, look, Campbell, he has edge capabilities. He has it, you know. But, you know, Vic Fangio, he wants guys to learn and play the game the right way. He believes guys have to earn the right to rush the passer. He believes that wholeheartedly. Even Nolan Smith spoke about it in his press conference, but we'll talk about that a little later. He mentioned that although Jihaad has edge capabilities, it's there. He wants him to focus on inside linebacker. He wants him to focus on those responsibilities. And we'll see Jihaad in August. We'll see him on the field in August. Maybe we see him for a preseason game. You never know. He spoke about Nolan Smith and Jalen's Hunt and their development. He feels pretty good about Nolan and Jalen and where they're going. He actually feels pretty good about the whole edge room. He says, I think we're pretty good there. We're going to learn more about those guys throughout training camp and so on and so forth, but he says he feels pretty good about that group, which is pretty respectable this early in the process. I'm really excited about Nolan. Nolan's press conference, he spoke about how he just wants to continue to feed the fire and be hungry, and he's so focused on, developing technique, and he's so happy to have had a guy like BG to teach him the ropes. He spoke about how he's so proud and so grateful to play under Vic Fangio because Vic Fangio has coached some of his favorites, some of his favorite pass rushers, some of the guys he tries to model his game after. He feels like he's in such a fortunate, such a prime position being coached under Vic Fangio for his career. He said a quote, I got to crush the run to rush the passer. He says, Coach Fangio always reminds him, play the game the right way. Don't chase sacks. Don't do play the game the right way. Defend the run, set the edge, have gap discipline. Rushing the passer, all that stuff will come. You got to earn it. I just think it was really dope. I just think it was real dope to just hear and see Nolan Smith give so much credit to BG, so much credit to Vic Fangio. Nolan just speaks highly about being coachable. And he says it's easier to be coachable when you're being coached by somebody you respect. Being coached by somebody that has the resume of Vic Fangio. It's so much easier to remain coachable. It's easier to remain coachable when you had a guy like BG. He says he talks to BG regularly. He got emotional speaking about BG. So I think that was dope to just see that Brandon Graham had that impact on Nolan, and they're two peas in a pod. Like their mindset, their approach, the way they carry themselves, the way they speak, they're very similar in that regard. I can see that. But moving on, another part of the conversation that was pretty interesting. And I want to get back to the secondary a little bit, but before I do that, another part of the conversation that was really interesting was how he discussed Jordan Davis. And Jalen Carter, but more so specifically Jordan Davis. He was high on Jalen Carter. He said Jalen Carter, he played very well in 2024. He can still get so much better, which is scary to think about. Jalen Carter is phenomenal. Even Jeremiah Trotter Sr., he was on WIP and he spoke and he was like, look, that kid Jalen Carter, he's so talented, man. He don't even know how to play the position yet. And he said that with respect. He said that with reverence and as a compliment. He was just basically trying to indicate that kid is so dominant now. Wait till he really gets all the nuances of the position down pat. Wait until he learns the science, the true science of the position. So a lot of people are high on Jalen Carter. Jeremiah Trotter Sr., Vic Fangio, they're high on Jalen Carter, and they both mutually believe that there's so much more for Jalen Carter to learn. But Jordan Davis, that part of the conversation with Vic Fangio was very interesting. It made me feel really good. I know some of you guys think I have it out for Jordan Davis. I don't know why you think that, but I know some of you guys think I have it out for Jordan Davis. And that I don't think Jordan Davis can be a long-term answer for the Philadelphia Eagles, which is the furthest thing from the truth. You know, let me preface it with this before I continue, so people don't get my position misconstrued about Jordan Davis. And I'm on record making it very clear. Yet some people still can't get the snot out of their eyes. Still can't get the cotton balls out of their ears. I think Jordan Davis is a good player. I think he's an elite run defender. I also believe he still has a ways to go as a pass rusher. And I believe that the Eagles want to keep him on this defense, want to keep him on this team long term. But I also believe it will come down to how Jordan Davis values himself and how negotiations go between Jordan Davis's agent and Howie Roseman. Because there's a chance the Eagles have a number in mind and Jordan Davis has a different number in mind. That is very plausible. And if they can't come to grips, if they can't come to an agreement on what the player is worth at the negotiation table, people have to be prepared for him to leave. That is a reality, not my feelings. That's simple economics. That's simple business. Now, I do believe it's a challenge. I do believe it's a challenge trying to quantify Jordan Davis's value on paper. We know what he does on the field. We see what he does well. We see the impact he makes on defense. I believe he's the anchor of that defense. He does so much for that defense in terms of run defense and taking up space and giving the linebackers gaps to shoot or whatever it may be. On the field, we see what he does, and it works. The question is, how does that translate to the dotted line? And I think that's going to be interesting. Now, they picked up his fifth-year option. I'm on record indicating that I didn't think they would pick it up. That's not to say I didn't want them to. I'll say it again. I'm on record saying that I didn't think they would pick up the option. I'm also on record saying that doesn't mean I don't want them to. You see, I got to speak from my analysis brain, and I also have to speak from my fan brain. And sometimes they commingle. Sometimes I have to draw a line. What I think they will do versus what I want most of the time are different. But nonetheless, they picked up the option, which means that they want to work things out long-term with the player. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. It's a great sign. They picked up the option. That means they want to work out things long-term with the player. So now we get to Vic Fangio's perspective on Jordan Davis. And I thought this was very interesting. He mentioned specifically during the last 7 to 8 games of the season, including the playoffs. So that's, we played 4 games in the playoffs. He said the last 7 to 8 games of the season, Jordan Davis was playing very well down the stretch. And I think we all saw that. That wasn't a mystery. But to hear Vic Fangio specifically acknowledge that says something. He said during the last 7 to 8 games of the season, including the playoffs, Jordan Davis was playing very well down the stretch. And that so far, it has carried over into the 2025 offseason. And he believes, and he hopes it carries over into the 2025 season. And he even took it a step further and said that he believes Jordan Davis is in the best shape he's ever been in. He said Jordan Davis is in the best shape he's ever been in. And he mentioned how it took Jordan Davis about half a season to get into that space where Vic Fangio wanted him to be in. He said the longer the season went, the better in shape, the more in shape Jordan Davis was, which was very, very interesting to hear, because we remember in 2023, Jordan Davis fell off a cliff after that Bills game. But in 2024, he was getting better. He was getting more in shape. He was ramping up. And it showed itself in the last 7 to 8 games. It showed itself in the playoffs. He even mentioned how he believes Jordan Davis is getting better as a pass rusher. And he got better as a pass rusher in the second half of the season. He said you really saw it starting to come together. He says he saw it starting to come together. And need I remind you guys, they picked up Jordan Davis' 5th-year option. He's entering year 4 right now. So he's under contract for this season and 2026. We have Jordan Davis under contract for 2 more seasons, 2025 and 2026. Okay? So the Eagles picked up the option, which is a strong sign for the player's future in Philadelphia. And it also means that they want to work something out. They want to work something out. And by the way, Jordan Davis did get a sack in the Super Bowl. He did. Josh Sweat had 2.5 sacks. Milton Williams had 2. Jordan Davis had 1. Jalen Hunt had a half a sack. So Jalen Hunt ended up splitting a sack with Josh Sweat. You feel me? Now, I think Jordan Davis is going to have a really good season. I really, really do. I think Jordan Davis is going to have a really, really good season. And big dog, you're right. That was Jalen's sack. That wasn't a half a sack. That was his. Big dog, I'm with you on that. That was not, he did not split that sack. That was his sack. And I believe JD got a sack in the NFC Championship. He did. So Jordan Davis, NFC Championship game, Super Bowl, he came alive. He came alive, man. You got to give credit where credit is due. He came alive. So it feels good for me that Vic Fangio had nothing but strong things to say about Cooper DeJean. Nolan Smith, Jalen Hunt, and the rest of those edge rushers, Jordan Davis, right? It feels good knowing he had good things to say about those guys. He was very optimistic, very confident about Kelee Ringo, making it very clear that all he needs is reps. That's all he needs. Just get him more reps, and it'll come to him. That's all he needs. He spoke about Jalen Carter, I mentioned already. He spoke about Nico Dean. And this alarmed me a little bit. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Let's try to get to 100 likes, you guys. We got over 116 people on the live stream. Let's try to get to 100 likes. We got 81 likes so far. Let's try to get to 100 likes, you guys. Let's try to get to 100 likes. We got 81 so far. When Nico Dean's name came up, I got a little nervous. I got nervous about Nico Dean. I'm nervous about him. I'm going to be honest with you guys about that. When Vic Fangio brought up Nico Dean, or when Nico Dean's name came up to Vic Fangio, Vic Fangio made it clear that we're not going to see Nico Dean anytime soon. Now, I don't know what that means, but when he mentioned Jihaad Campbell, he was very specific about August. He was very specific to say we're going to see him in August. Jihaad Campbell. But when it came to Nico Dean, he was very intentional to say, and he said it twice. He said the first time, he said, we're not going to see him for a while. And then he took it a step further and said, we're not going to see him anytime soon. Watch the press conference back. Big Dog says, I would take that with a grain of salt with Vic what Vic said. Thomas Mott and Josh was just with the dogs, and they said Nicobe said his rehab is going faster than expected. Listen, with all due respect to those guys, the players said that, not the doctors. Players are always going to do that. With all due respect to Thomas Mott, with all due respect to the guy from the Philly Special Show, with all due respect to those brothers, what do you expect the player to say? I don't mean that with no disrespect. But what do you expect the player to say to you? Be honest. You think he's going to say, things are a little hard right now. Things are a struggle, I'm a little nervous. What do you really expect him to say? I'm asking y'all now. And again, I want to make this very clear. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with Thomas Mott. I think they do great work over there. I don't have a problem with Josh from the Philly Special Show. I have no problem with those guys. No problem. I'm pretty sure Nico Dean said that to them. I think I saw some photos with them in the locker room or whatever. So, like those guys get around. They move around. Those guys have built tremendous platforms. Much respect to those guys. They've built tremendous platforms. But when it comes to Nico Dean, what do you really expect him to say? Miss Fanny with the super chat says, nobody talks about pick six Ricks. What's the deal? That's funny. I'm not sure what's going on with Eli Ricks. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Thank you for the super chat, though. I mean, Ricks is clearly a guy they see as a depth piece. I mean, you know, his name didn't come up not one time when it came to that competition for CB2. So I don't know how high Vic looks at him. So, you know, I think we really need to curb our expectations when it comes to Nakobe. I think we really do. Because riding a bike, you know, shooting a basketball is different than planting your foot, cutting. We got to really curb our expectations. We got to really curb our expectations. And Alex is right. Nico Dean's injury is way worse than Jihaad Campbell's. Again, like I said, Vic Fangio was very specific. Keisha White says Simone said he looked good the other day at the Eagles Women's Day and said that he wasn't wearing a brace. With all due respect to my girl Simone, shout out to Simone. That don't matter. Shout out to my girl Simone. She does great work as well. Can't wait to get with her on the link up. Can't wait to get with her on the link up. That's my girl. Shout out to her, man. She's phenomenal. She is phenomenal. But again, that doesn't mean he's ready to play. You know, that doesn't mean that he'll be good to go. That doesn't mean anything to me. With all it doesn't. It doesn't mean anything to me, Keisha. And again, I mean that with respect. Seriously. I don't want people to get me misconstrued here. I respect my girl Simone. Got love for that girl. I respect Thomas Smart and what he's built. I respect Josh from the Philly Special Show. I truly respect I truly respect people in this space. But what they saw, what they heard, doesn't really mean much to me. It doesn't really mean much to me. Vic Fangio said we're not going to see him no time soon. He said no time soon. Like, I think, like, Vic Fangio isn't a guy to just say anything willy-nilly. You feel what I'm saying? Listen, you guys, Vic Fangio's pretty honest. Vic Fangio has been honest with us forever. And guess what? If he doesn't want to answer a question, he'll even say, I'm not answering that. You know? Like Vic Fangio has been honest with us to a fault sometimes. And if he don't want to answer something, he even did it in the press conference. He said, I'm not going to answer that. He said, I'm not going to mess around with that. He said, no comment on that. I'm not going to answer that question. I can't remember what it was about. But no, it was about Jordan Davis. He was asked, why did it take so long? Why did it take into the second half of the season for Jordan Davis to get in shape? And I think Vic Fangio said, no comment. No comment. So Vic, he ain't got no problem answering questions, but when he don't want to answer one, he'll say, I'm not answering that. But he'll give you answers, though. So when he said, yeah, he said it twice. He said it twice. He said it twice. He said it's going to be a while before we see Nakobe. And then later on in the interview, he said, yeah, we're not going to see Nakobe anytime soon. What does anytime soon look like to y'all? Because to me, I already set in my mind that Nakobe's going on the PUP list. I've already made up my mind a while ago that Nakobe's going to go on the PUP list, right? Jihaad Campbell, I was kind of 50-50 on. But Nakobe, I already kind of convinced myself he's going on the PUP list. What does no time soon mean to y'all? When Vic Fangio says it, not the player. And look, I'm not saying Nakobe is not moving in a positive direction. I believe he's getting better. I believe like he can only get healthier. He can only get healthier. The surgery went well. Rehab is going well. I know he's moving in a positive direction. That's not a revelation to me. I know he's moving in a positive direction, but that's not a revelation to me. Warv says probably week 5. Keisha says we may see Dean after the bye. The bye is, I think, what, week 8, week 9? Yeah, the bye is week 9. So that's the second half of the season. Antonio Holmes says to protect Nakobe from Nakobe, he's going to have to go on the PUP list. Big Dog says hopefully week 2. I think that's a little too soon for him too. So Keisha says week 9. Big Dog says week 9. Warv says week 5. And remember, the PUP list is a 4-week thing. So when you go on the PUP list, you miss the first 4 games of the season. We could see him week 5. We could see him week 6. You never know. Remember, we're still in June, by the way. We got all of June. We got July. We got August. We got September. We got 4 months until we probably see Nakobe. That's probably not that. That's probably a good spot. But again, I'm only speaking from that concerned me. I'm only speaking for myself. I'm only speaking about something that I noticed in that press conference that made me nervous. That's all I'm doing. I'm just expressing that when he said that about Nico Dean, that kind of made me nervous a bit. And I'm only sharing that with you guys. That's all. All right. We're about to close the show out. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Let me see here. Let me read some of your comments before we get. Oh, I knew there was one more thing I want to talk to you guys about. Sorry about that. I knew there was one more thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. I want to talk to you guys about the safety competition. That came up in the press conference too. That's interesting because Vic Fangio said another thing. Vic Fangio said another thing that stood out to me. I can't believe I almost forgot to talk about this. Can't believe I almost forgot. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We got 121 people tuned into the stream. We got 98 likes. Let's try to get to 100 likes, y'all. Let's get to 100 likes. Let's get to 100 likes, y'all. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Let's get to 100 likes. Vic Fangio was asked about the position battle at safety. And, we've talked about Sidney Brown. We've talked about Andrew Makuba. And, he made it clear that there is a battle there. But what took me aback, what took me aback was when he threw in Tristan McCullum's name. I was like, really? I was like, wow, okay. He's higher on Tristan McCullum than any of us anticipated. We were talking about this safety competition as if it was a 2-horse race. Vic Fangio was very intentional to throw Tristan McCullum's name into the hat. And we've seen good moments from Tristan McCullum. We've seen, we haven't seen enough of Tristan McCullum to really have a strong opinion about him. We've probably seen him miss a play there, have a good play there, a bad play there, whatever it is. Like we haven't seen enough Tristan McCullum to just kill him. But you got a rookie in Drew Makuba. You got a third-year player in Sidney Brown. And you got Tristan McCullum. Let me see if I can make sure I got it. Make sure I got this here. Tristan McCullum, where is it? And you got Tristan McCullum, who's 26 years old, an undrafted guy, 6'3", 195. Tristan McCullum's measurables are fantastic. Fantastic. I don't know how much we know about Tristan McCullum, but Tristan McCullum is 6'3". 6'3", 195. I didn't know he was that big. Pause. I didn't know he was that tall. Like, Tristan McCullum, 6'3", 195. Worf says, I think Vic is just creating competition. That's all. Hey, listen. The competition is already baked in between Sidney Brown and Andrew Makuba. That's competition right there. Wouldn't you say so? I mean, I don't think he works like that, Worf. Like, Vic Fangio is not about giving false confidence. Vic, we've watched enough of his press conferences to know that Vic is not just talking out of his behind. He doesn't mince words. He doesn't waste words. He doesn't say anything he doesn't mean. He doesn't say anything he doesn't mean. And if he doesn't want to say something, he either won't say it or he'll say no comment or next question. Now, look, I'm not saying Tristan McCullum's going to beat out Andrew Makuba or I don't know. I don't know. But I think it's interesting, to say the least, that Tristan McCullum is just as involved in this competition as Andrew Makuba and Sidney Brown. You know what I mean? Like, whatever you feel personally about Tristan McCullum, put it to the side for a second. Vic Fangio was very intentional to say Tristan McCullum because when he was asked about the competition, when he was asked about the competition, the reporters only brought up Sidney Brown and Tristan McCullum, Sidney Brown and Andrew Makuba, excuse me. When Vic Fangio was asked about the competition at safety, he was only asked about Sidney Brown and Andrew Makuba. He said, well, Tristan McCullum, he's in that competition as well. Come on now. Come on now. I don't think that's an accident. I don't think that's an accident at all. And look, it's only OTAs, by the way. We still got training camp. We still got mandatory minicamp, which is one day. You got training camp, preseason games. It's a lot of time. And Fangio was clear that it's going to take training camp and a couple preseason games to determine who's going to be the guy. So he's not rushing this process whatsoever. But he said that it's going to take some time. It's going to take a training camp. It's going to take training camp. It's going to take a couple preseason games to figure out who's that guy. But the fact that he's giving Tristan McCullum a fair enough shot as Sidney Brown and Andrew Makuba, I think that's remarkable. He also took it a step further to say Sidney Brown got a lot of starting reps or got a lot of burn his rookie season, but then getting hurt, tearing his ACL, threw off his 2024 campaign, and he missed a lot of opportunities to get better. So he considered 2024 to be damn near a lost season for Sidney Brown. So I spoke about this. Sidney Brown likely lost the season due to that injury. He started behind the 8 ball. He couldn't get on the field in training camp. He was on the PUP list. It was a lost season for him. But he did make an impact on special teams, nonetheless. And he said, look, all that in 2023, it was what it was. He got to start from scratch. He got to start from square one. As he should, by the way. As he should. I said it. Andrew Makuba, Sidney Brown, those guys are starting from the same position. So we'll see how it turns out, you guys. We covered a lot. Vic Fangio gave us a lot to discuss. Gave us a lot of stuff to discuss. So I appreciate all of you for being here in the live stream. Thank you all for remaining engaged, and thank you all for smashing that like button. It's been great. Thank you for the super chats, S. Blunt, Miss Fanny. Thank you for the super chats. Really do appreciate you guys as well. On top of that, I want to give a shout out to Alex, Keisha White, and Big Dog for being at the top of our leaderboards, for engaging the most in the live stream. Alex is ranked number 1, Keisha is ranked number 2, and Big Dog is ranked number 3. They were our most active viewers today. So I appreciate all you guys for locking in. By the way, the content is also available on TikTok. It's available on Instagram. You can catch full shows on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and you can watch the playbacks as well on YouTube. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, especially if you're new. I really do appreciate that. Stay engaged. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. And you guys have been locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.